G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Farming Simulator 22 on our Start From Scratch series. This is episode 9 on Haut-Beyleron. So today we've got the grass ready to harvest, and let's just check up on our other field here, field 23, which has got a little bit of corn and some soybeans, and it says we need to roll it. We won't be doing any rolling as of yet. We do need to put some fertilizer on, but I was fully expecting that there might be some weeds growing in there. I do have weeds turned on, and I have bought a weeder. So not only was I hoping they'd be in there, I'm kind of disappointed that they're not in there actually. I don't know what's going on with that. But as for today, we need to mow and bale all this grass, get that made up into some silage, so that we can sell that when the time comes. We do have plenty of grass bales in store, as you can see here, and they're for the sheep. That's their food for the year, or two, depending how far that can go. So we'll grab our mower. We are still using this wing mower on the back. We haven't got a tractor suitable to run the front mower with it at the moment, so that time will come eventually. As for now, we're still doing it the hard way, which is a little bit annoying, but it just takes a little bit of extra time, so it's not really that big of a deal. As for the rest of the day, we're going to fertilize the other field, and we'll also have to fertilize this field once we've mowed it, windrowed it, baled it, everything else like that. And we're not really that busy today. It's kind of just doing the chores on our own fields, and if we've got a bit of time, then we'll do some contracting as well, but we'll have to see what's available. We're not just going to do any old job, but I kind of feel like this will be better as a big time lapse here, because this is going to be a slow process, so I'll see you at the other end. pretty big job. It's not that big of a field, but it is quite a big job with this tractor. It's not the highest horsepower thing that we can get, but it's what we could afford at the time. It was enough to get started. So we are on the eye out for a new tractor when the time's right, especially once the money starts getting up there. Because doing 6 kilometers on this very small hill with this baler is not really ideal for us, but that's alright. Got ourselves a few bales there, so we'll get them loaded up into the trailer and they can start fermenting, and we'll do another cut later in the year, try and get ourselves a full trailer load before we go to sell. So things are looking alright really, I would think, considering we've started with nothing. Now we've got sheep, we've got bees, we've got the greenhouse, we've got a field full of crops. I know we made the mistake of putting the wrong crop in, and we do have one extra grass bale here because the baler already had a bale which was a different size to what we can actually wrap with the baler. So that would just go for the sheep again. So now we've got a few extra months worth of food for the sheep, which is all good. It means we don't have to worry about them, but the next time we do any grass mowing, we won't have to prepare any straight grass bales, probably for quite some time actually, because that's going to be plenty for them. So in the off season, which is now, because really the time of year that we look forward to the most is probably the winter. That's when we can sell everything. I know we will have to harvest later in the year, in the autumn, for the corn and the soybeans, but really up until then we're kind of just floating around. We'll have to do some contracting and a bit of tidying up around the yard here. I can see that we still need to get rid of all these old tree stumps, and I want to plant some new trees because that is quite a good source of income for us. It does take a long time for new trees to grow to full strength before we can cut them down and sell, but still it's just background money, and we've got the tree planter there, we might as well make the most of it. So we've got 6 bales on the trailer, 3 in the field. It would have been 4 if it wasn't for that grass bale, but that's alright. It saves us buying food for the sheep anyway. Lettuce is coming along quite well. For it's only been a couple of months actually since we sold it, a few months, but there'll be another good trailer load of that ready by the end of the year. So we'll just chuck our trailer down over here on this bit of grass, and now we need to put a coat of fertilizer onto this field, and then we need to head over to the other field with the fertilizer spreader and we'll do the second coat of fertilizer, and then we can just leave that field alone because I don't know where the weeds are, which is good for us because it's going to save us having to put narrow tyres onto the tractor. We don't have to do any more work in there now. Would be good to get ourselves some cows so we don't have to use artificial fertilizer forever. We want to go organic at some point, and it becomes free as well when you're doing it like that, because the cows produce the slurry and the manure, and that way you don't have to go around spending heaps of money on fertilizer. But at the moment this is the cheapest and easiest way for us to do things. So a quick coat through here, doesn't take too long this job, very small field, but it looks like we're going to have to go to the store and refill the fertilizer spreader before we head on up to our field. And if there's any good fertilizing contracts available in the market, then we'll do that as well before the day is out, but we'll just have to see how that goes. So between now and the next episode, which probably won't be until we come to harvest our new crop, I'll probably just do a few running around bits and pieces. I want to tidy up this farm, get a tree stump grinder, and we'll get some new trees planted as well. I think there's already a batch of trees on the tree planter ready to go, but we might as well get rid of these old stumps first, keep the place looking tidy. And we'll do some other contracting throughout the summer months. I think our harvest time is going to be around October, November, and then we're going to be busy selling our stuff when it comes to December, January, February, March. So there's plenty for us to do, but it's at the moment it's just a case of waiting around. So here the greenhouse, it's got a little bit of water inside, it's got a little bit in the tank, it's got enough to keep it going for a while, but I might top that up before the end of this month here. But we need to head down to the store now. We're going to top up the fertilizer spreader, and then we'll head up to our crop field, give that a second coat, and possibly do a fertilizing contract on the way home. So here we are, we're up at our crop. Just chuck a quick coat of fert down on here. Shouldn't take us too long, maybe 2 or 3 runs, maybe 3 at the most, I would say. Up, down and up. It's not really that big of a field, and this working width of this spreader is quite cool. Very good. A little bit disappointed that I made the mistake of putting corn on one side of the field. It was just a total error on my part, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's just a couple of $1,000s that we're going to be missing out on at the end of the day. I wonder if I should maybe make a little concrete pad where I can store the crop rather than just leaving it inside a trailer, because we kind of need the trailer for other stuff, and I don't know, we can't afford to get a silo right now, and we need to think of other ways that we can store products. It's just not very realistic to leave a whole crop tipped out on some concrete throughout the winter while we wait for the right time of year to sell. So I don't really know what to do about that. Eventually we will buy ourselves a silo of some sort, whether it be a bunker silo or a proper silo for all the crop. But I think we're quite a long way away from that, because the money that it takes to buy a silo you could almost buy a new field with, or in my case definitely a new tractor. And we also need to put a shed up at this field, because we've got a lot of equipment now just sitting out in the dirt in the side of the road getting rusty. So let's just check the map here, just make sure we've done a good job. Field 23, looking pretty good. Fully fertilized, still no weeds. If I turn everything off, it still says there's no weeds. Weeds are definitely turned on, I'm sure of it. I'll double check that right now. And our grass field, fully fertilized, needs a bit of lime on the area that we've ploughed, but we're not going to do that because it's just not really worth it. It's only grass at the end of the day. Do want to check, there's our finances. Still got this massive loan, we should start repaying some of that actually. We can afford to just do 5 grand here and there. Sheep are all good. Contracting, there's not really much available. So I think what we'll do is we'll head back over to our main field, and we'll maybe do a quick water run. We'll fill up that tank, get the greenhouse full, and that'll keep the greenhouse busy, and we won't have to worry about that for quite some time yet. Keep those lettuce growing, they're our main source of income really throughout the summer, well, year round really. And then when it comes to the right time, which is around January, February, we just sell it. So we've got to do that. Maybe we should invest in a second greenhouse. They're quite cheap and they're relatively low maintenance. Don't cost us anything. Just a couple of trips of water, which isn't really that big of a deal. But we'll head up to the farm and we'll grab the water tank, and I'll see you up there. Okay, so let's get this water tanker onto the tractor. There's a little bit left in the tank, so we'll just spill this out into the greenhouse here. There's actually quite a bit in there, and there's quite a bit in the greenhouse if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so we'll just do one load of water and then empty that out and that'll be enough to keep it going for a few more months. We won't have to worry about it. We'll have to come back and move this grass bale over to the storage for the sheep. But yeah, not too busy to be honest at the moment. The summer months you think we would be busy because this would be when we're planting and fertilising fields, but we just don't have enough fields to be busy at the moment. But we'll get there one day eventually. There we go, got ourselves some water back up to the field. Just drop this off, we'll empty out as much as we can into the greenhouse. I don't know if it will take all of it. Probably will because it's not the biggest of tanks. Only 7,000 litres of water in there. It's quite a lot really. We'll just leave that there. See how much it's going to take. Looks like it will take all of it. But I'm not going to do another run today. I'll do it when the time comes, and we'll just leave that there. We'll go park the tractor up, and we'll check on the sheep, make sure they're all good. And then I think it's going to be a case of having a rest, check the used market, and we'll see what's available, if anything. Not exactly rolling in cash right now, but it's always worth checking because there is sometimes something that's worth picking up even if you don't need it right now, and it might be cheap enough. But there's the rain. Now a sunny day again, but we are waking up in a month's time. So there's not really too much to do. A little bit of just chores I suppose on our field. There's nothing in the market. We don't really need this van, which is a mod. I don't know if anybody's used that before, but I haven't. But I do like to download some mods. So sheep are looking good. Still got plenty of feed left out of that bale. Haven't produced a great deal of wool yet, but they are only adolescent sheep. They'll start taking off very soon. So I need to check on this field here. Why has there's no weeds growing? Like, we definitely have weeds turned on. Let's just check. So settings, that's here. Yeah, field stones are off, but weeds are on, lime's on, ploughing's on, crop destruction is on. So I don't understand why we don't have any weeds yet. And I hope they don't pop up next time, because we're going to have to buy some sort of sprayer or something if the crop gets too large. So anyway, that'll be the end of this episode, guys. I'll come back to you when it's time for harvest. Thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, like, subscribe, do a comment, all those good things, and I'll see you in the next episode.